Hi, everyone. My name is Kelly with Money Gal Coaching, and I am here today because I had a ton of student loan debt, and I woke up one day and I was done. I had it. I had to get them paid off, and it was slowly killing me inside. And ever since I paid them off, I've been on a mission to tell everyone that there are easier and better ways to manage your student loans, to all the other types of loans and debt in your life, all with personal finances. And it is something that we are unfortunately not taught about, but I'm here to tell you that it is not as hard as you think. So let's dive into the power of personal finance so that you can gain control of your finances by clarifying your goals so that you can create a roadmap to your dream life. All right, so debt is too normal. 40% of Americans have less than $300 in their savings. The average credit card debt in America is over $6,000, and only 39% of Americans have enough money for a $1,000 emergency. And if these stats don't scare you, I don't know what will. Basically, America's in debt. It's the true American way, and if you want to be normal, then this is probably the life that you're living. Or it's the life that you're living because you were never taught a better way. And that's where I fell into this scenario, is I just didn't know any better. And once I decided to actually dive in and to improve my finances, my stress got reduced and I was no longer worrying and living the paycheck to paycheck cycle. I started actually building wealth. And so let's dive into a little bit of that, because keeping up with the Joneses isn't working, as you probably know. You see your neighbors, your friends, your family buying that new car and posting on social media about their going up north to their cabin, and all of that stuff is probably because of debt. They took out the loan for the car, they have a second mortgage for that cabin up north, or whatever the thing is, it's because of debt. And if you want to live a debt reduced lifestyle, I won't say a debt free lifestyle, because sometimes a mortgage is okay, right? It's a really large investment and it's hard to pay for that in cash. But let's reduce the amount of interest that we're paying in our lives, and let's try to streamline where our money is going. Let's be intentional so that we can actually build wealth so much more quickly, so that we can get to the part of living our best life in retirement, right? And so close your eyes with me for a second, and I want you to imagine a few things. And I am asking you again to actually close your eyes, because this is important. Okay, I want you to envision where you are living. Are you in your same city? Are you in a new home? Are you living abroad? Who are you with? Are you with your spouse, your kids, some girlfriends? And what are you doing for work? Are you sticking with your same job, or are you getting rid of that and you're starting something new? Are you just working part-time, full-time? Are you going after a passion project, or are you starting a business? And then what are you doing in your free time? Are you learning how to surf? Are you traveling the world? Are you volunteering at a local community shelter? Whatever it is, these are the things that make up your dreams. These are the things that can become your reality. And they only can become your reality when you become intentional. And so open your eyes again, and let's figure out how to put these dreams, these visions for ourselves into our actual practice of personal finance, so that we can get to these dreams. We don't want to just have them as something that we think about. We actually want them to become our realities. We don't want to just hope and wish for these things. We want to actually put things into place so that they can become true. And so, do you want to reach your goals and have a meaningful work? Do you want to do more of what you love, have security in your bank accounts, be confident in your money-making decisions? And do you want to build wealth and retire someday? If you said yes to any of those or all of those things, then you want to get better with your personal finances. And whether it's something that you were taught or not taught, that doesn't matter. Today is the day for you. Today is the day that you can make a change, that you can promise yourself, that you can learn. And today is the day that is the first day for the rest of your life, because once you get this knowledge, once you jump on that train, it's no going back. You are going to be on the fast track to being happy again, to having less stress, and to living your dream life. And all of that is truly possible. We just have to be intentional with our actions and with our money. And that's where a lot of the lessons that we're going to be talking about today come into play. But there are also things that you need to take with you after this and put actually into practice in your life. And so to achieve your dreams, we have to be intentional with our income. They don't just happen by accident. You don't just accidentally become an Olympian or accidentally become Beyonce. You have to define your goals. What do you want to do? Where do you want to be? You want to know where your money is going, because you can't decide where you want it to go if you don't know where it's currently going. You have to track your progress so that you can make sure that you stay on the plan. And you have to celebrate your small wins, because this isn't all about just sticking to a budget and this regiment of these tasks that you're supposed to be doing. This is about living life and being happy. So while there's some things that we have to do, just like we have to mow the lawn and buy groceries, you can also have a little joy in these moments too, right? So I like to compare this personal finance scenarios with this quote that I found, because I think we often think about scenarios like this in other areas of our life, but not with our money. So imagine this: if you're trying to diet, what do? You grab two of your friends and you say, we're going to the gym, let's do this together. Money shouldn't be any different. If you're trying to make progress, if you're trying to save more, we really need to be able to get support. From Alexa from learnvest.com. I mean, I think this speaks to the truth to needing a tribe, a community, a support group, a network, people to be able to talk about money with, not only the joys and celebrate the wins, but also your concerns and what are you doing? Am I doing the right thing? How do you feel about this? What do you think about that? But being able to have these open dialogues, these open conversations with our friends and family, are the people closest to us, will give us confidence and allow us to learn more from having people to connect with, versus when we stay in our silos, we're just trusting that we're doing the right thing and we aren't seeking education from other people, and we can actually be on a completely wrong path. So let's dive into student loans before we can figure out how to fix our personal finance maybe mess that we're in, or how to start with personal finances. Let's do a little bit of digging into student loans first so that some of those concepts make sense. So when you have a loan, you have kind of three different areas of a loan. You have your balance, the amount that you took out, you have your accrued interest, and you have your regular interest. So the regular interest is interest that you earn every month that you have to pay. And the accrued is all that interest that has snowballed, that has piled up that you haven't paid yet, but has accrued on top of your principal balance. So each month that you have a debt, that you have a loan with interest on it, you are paying extra than the amount that you actually took out. And this is what we want to try to avoid, because we can have better plans for that money besides having it go towards interest payments, right? And so within these loans, there's federal loans and private loans for student loans. And federal are, as said, they're backed by the federal or funded by the federal government. They also come with a lot of perks that we'll talk about. And the private loans are through a bank or your local credit union. And these are just loans that you can get for the common things that we think of as like a car loan or a personal loan if you wanted to buy something or maybe consolidate some loans. But diving into the federal loans on here, there are either subsidized or unsubsidized loans. And these are really important because if you have subsidized loans, you actually don't have to pay interest while you're in school, the first 6 months after you graduate, or during a deferment period. And so look up the Federal Service Guidelines on their website. They will tell you what deferment periods are. They will tell you for your specific loan, what stage that you're at, when you have to pay them back. But not accruing interest is saving a bunch of money that we won't have to pay back later. But those are not in unlimited supply. And so sometimes you have to have the unsubsidized loans. These are for graduate and undergraduate students, and the student is actually responsible for paying the interest. So if you have these unsubsidized loans, you're actually accruing interest the whole time that you're still in school. And so if you take them out freshman year, you have 4 years or however many years of paying this interest or accruing this interest and then eventually having to pay it back. So of course we want these subsidized loans, but they aren't always an option, as I said, and these loans are still better than private loans. You still get some additional perks that we'll cover here that private loans don't get. So federal loan perks, you get lower interest rates usually. You want to check with the market, but even I would argue that if the interest rate is a little bit higher, you still get all these other benefits that might make it worth paying a little bit of extra interest. You have the ability to defer your payments if you lose a job, if you move overseas with like the Peace Corps or certain other situations. You can have less interest paid if it's a subsidized loan. You have different repayment plan options. So if you took a hit on your income and you need to pay less per month, they're very flexible with that sort of thing versus, again, a private loan will not do that. You always have to make the standard payment every single month. And then you have student loan forgiveness options, which are kind of fun and kind of scary. There's a whole lot of options, scenarios, rules. But to kind of give you a quick glance, these are the different forgiveness, cancellation, and discharge loans that you can have. Public student loan forgiveness number 1 and the teacher loan forgiveness number 2. Those are the top ones that I think most people see in the news, or if you're trying to qualify, that you most likely will go after. Of course, there's other options as well, but we're going to dive into 1 and 2 here quickly. And so the first one, the private or the public service loan forgiveness, these are loans you can get if you work for a government agency, state, local, federal, or if you work for a nonprofit. And that's the big thing also, because a lot of people, if you work in the nonprofit sector, you might not make as much money as you were in the for-profit. And after a certain amount of time, you can actually get your loans forgiven. And that's a really great idea, right? We get excited about that, but there's a lot of rules that go into it. I'm not even going to claim to be an expert in this because there are reasons why there's dozens and dozens of pages of these rules. It could get very complex, but I think moral of the story is reach out to your loan provider, reach out to the Fed loan servicing group, and just ask them about whether you're on track, whether you're following the rules correctly, or all that sort of thing, because you want to take the reins and you want to actually lead the effort into this loan forgiveness, because the government will not just write you a check at the end of it. You actually have to do your due diligence. And I know you know that, but it's just worth saying that it's not easy to get, but you can get it. So if you do qualify with any of these, definitely look into it, because if you have a lot of student loans, it might be worth looking into, and it might be worth some of the extra work if you don't have that high of an income, and it's going to take you a while to pay them back. And so the other one is the teacher loan forgiveness program, and that also has eligibility requirements that you can see here. Employed full-time, working at certain schools, and so make sure, again, you reach out to your loan servicer, the Fed loan servicing agency, and figure out if you qualify and whether you're in the right plan or not, and then what rules you have to follow and what paperwork you have to submit, because each of these programs are a little bit different, and not everyone qualifies again, but it's a good little bonus if you're already kind of doing some of the work, or you're already working in these agencies that qualify. And so let's talk a little bit about interest as on the topic of student loans, right? I want to put it into something that's a little bit more digestible, the auto loan. We all have probably had a car loan, or we're going to at some point in our life. They're a little bit inevitable sometimes, but they don't have to be. So if we take an $18,000 car loan with a 6% interest, so nothing crazy here, right? And we have a 4 or a 6 year loan, you see the different payment options that they'll give you. So if they'll say, hey, do you want to pay $422 a month, or do you want to pay $298 a month? Most people will say, I'll take the $298, and then maybe those that are a little bit more in tune with their finances will say that they'll try to pay it off early, or whatever the case may be. But usually that doesn't happen. And so when we take the loan with the smaller term, the 4-year loan here, we actually can pay it off more quickly, and also we pay less interest over time, which is a huge perk. And so while you're paying more money up front for the loan, you actually pay less over time. So let's look at how this pans out with the $18,000 loan, the 6% interest. Again, we would, for a 4-year loan, we would pay $2,291 on interest alone. And for the 6-year loan, we would pay $3,478, again, only on interest, which would bring those two total payments to $20,000 and $21,500. And what that basically means is for this $18,000 car, if you took out the 4-year loan, you actually pay over $20,000 for it. And for this 6-year loan, you actually pay over $21,000 for it. And so while a simple $18,000 loan might not seem that big of a deal, and if we pick the 6-year plan and $298 a month, like that's affordable. 6 years is a long time though, and also you're paying more than $3,500 extra in interest, when I would argue that interest would actually, you'd rather be using that money for something more fun than car interest, right? Wouldn't you want to go on vacation or put that money down on a house or go on a shopping spree. I don't know, anything besides this. And also looking at this, still remember you're paying $422 a month on your car loan, or you're paying $298 a month on your car loan. And so if you didn't have this car loan, what could you be doing with this money to free up this money in your budget? Free up this money that you're spending every month. Could you put a new patio on your house? Could you go on vacation? Could you take care of your parents? Like, what could you do besides paying for a car? And so these are just some of the conversations that I like to just sprinkle into your brain a little bit to see if this is your only option. That's totally fine, but sometimes it's not. And if it's not, let's see if we can do a little bit better, right? And so after all, being rich is having money, but being wealthy is having time. And so my goal for you, my goal for me isn't about having all the dollars, right? I don't need all the money. I want to be able to get to a point in life where I can do what I want, when I want, whenever I want, right? And that's kind of what we did earlier when we were dreaming a little bit. The goal isn't to just be a blob on the couch all day because I don't have to go to work anymore. The goal is to make sure I'm chasing after hobbies, that I'm going after my passions, that I'm surrounded by the people that I love and the place that I love. And so when we have more wealth, we have more time and flexibility with our finances. We can truly live a happier and more meaningful life. And so building good habits, speaking of, will help you create these transformations to live your dream life. And so right now you can see that your income is being torn in 100 different directions. You have your life expenses, your bills that you always have to pay. You have your necessities, clothing, food, transportation. You have your savings because you should be saving for retirement, and your 401k. You should be saving for that new car. Of course, you should be saving for Johnny's swim lessons, right? And then you have all your living your best life things, your restaurants, your vacations, your entertainment. But we only have so much income. It isn't an indefinite resource. And when it's getting pulled in so many different directions, it's sometimes hard to see where the plan is, or if we're making any traction, or if we're even building any wealth, or if we're going further into debt, which is why we need to keep an eye on these numbers and build a plan for ourselves. That way it can become just routine. We keep it back of mind, and it's not something that we have to stress about all the time. And so by that, I have this 3-step budgeting system, and all this is meant for is to be able to break down these tasks into 3 manageable steps. And so step 1, to getting our finances in order, to creating our budget, to reaching our goals, right? All of those things are kind of the same umbrella topic. I want you to track your past spending. And what I mean by that is I want you to take a spreadsheet. I have a tool too that I can link for you guys. It's free. But I want you to write down all of your spending, every time you swiped a card, every time you spent money, each month for the last 3 months. And I want you to say, on average, between the 3 months, how much did you spend on groceries? So if you spent $100 the first month, $50 the second month, but $150 the third month in groceries, that's an average of $300 divided by the 3 months. That's $100 a month on average. Do that for every category in your spending, because it's hard to change where we want our money to go if we don't know where our money is currently going. And so we could say, okay, is $100 a month on groceries okay for me? Is it too much money? Is it too little money? What can I afford? And you had that conversation, you kind of build that template. And so step 2 then brings us to outlining our budget and then adding in our goals. So we kind of have that template from where our money was going, that 90-day tracker. And now we want to include our goals. We want to include all the things that make us happy in life. Maybe you're going to start saving for ballet lessons. You're going to start saving money to get that porch on the back of your house. You're going to start saving for that new car. Whatever it is, you're going to start adding categories to your budget so that you can start saving, so you can start making those dreams a reality. And sometimes the dreams aren't fun, like a water heater or a new roof, but sometimes they are. And when they are, it's totally worth it. And even when they're not so fun, it's really fun when you get to just pay with your card or write a check and you pay it off and you don't have interest that you're paying every single month, right? And so the last item is refine and adjust with life. And so this one budget that you create today isn't going to be your budget for life. You're going to have things come up. You're going to maybe get married or have babies or want to move abroad or want to buy a house up north. Whatever it is, your budget's going to have to be flexible. Your budget is going to have to change with you. And so don't think of it as this cement fixed thing. Think of it as something that's great for this time of this period in your life right now, but will probably have to change in the future. And that's totally okay, right? And I know this is a lot of information, but reference this class, whatever I'm doing right now, this lesson, look at it again later and remind yourself of, oh yeah, I was going to look into that, or oh, I'm going to just write down 2 things that I want to look into and I'm just going to start from there, because this is a lot of information and I don't want you to get overwhelmed. I just want you to start with one task. So again, know your why. Why are you doing this? Because you just doing this to be better with money isn't going to keep you going when things are really hard. But you doing this because you want a better life for your kids, or you want to stop paying interest on debt, or because you want to move abroad someday. Those are the things that will help you and that will keep you motivated and that will stay top of mind and be your why, right? Write out your goals where you can see them. I want them in a journal, on your phone, on your desktop, on your computer, whatever inspires you, a Pinterest board, but keep them in front of you so that you can see what you're achieving towards, right? What you're working towards. I want you to have personal goals, to have like work goals, to have development goals, personal finance, like money goals, all different areas of your life. And then how do we reflect them into our budget? You can also have an accountability partner, whether it is your spouse or a good friend, but somebody to help you answer questions, to be your rock when you just need someone to tell you that it's all going to be worth it someday. But sometimes when things are hard, we need to have a tribe, we need to have a community to be able to go to, and making sure that we have those people around us sooner than later is going to be crucial, right? So celebrate all your wins. I want you to go to that fancy restaurant, to buy that fancy bottle of champagne when you pay off a loan, or now you're only in like the single digits or only in the double digits of your loans, whatever it is. Write down those milestones and celebrate when you reach them, because that's going to be crucial to your success also. Don't forget to budget and track your expenses. We briefly talked about that, but there are tons of resources on the internet. I have some included, and it just helps you get started. And again, take one step today. I'm not asking you to do all of this all at once. It's definitely can be overwhelming, but when we don't start at all, we don't make any progress. And I'm just asking you to have a little bit of progress right now. And so talk with money with your partner. This should be open conversations with a friend or a spouse. Find a system that works for you. So whether it's a spreadsheet, an app, software, whatever it is, don't recreate the wheel. Don't try to make things harder than they have to be. Use something that's already there, a tool that you can already dive into and start using today. And then add reminders to your cell phone and your calendar. Make things as easy as possible, because this shouldn't be complicated. And I don't want you to stress and worry that you're going to forget something when we can just add little reminders and make things so much easier, right? And so don't let the fear of getting started prevent you from truly living your best life. Again, if this is all mildly overwhelming today, let's just soak it in. And then tomorrow, we can maybe watch this again and find a couple little nuggets to start working on. Or if you are motivated and ready to crush your finances right now, go track your 90 days worth of expenses and figure out where is your money currently going, and do you have room in your personal budget to be paying more on debt or to be reaching some of your goals. But what are those items? We don't know until we start diving in, right? And so just take a little bit of action today, take a little bit of action tomorrow, and all of those steps will add up to a whole lot of action. And someday you'll be able to say, I paid off X amount of debt. Like me, I paid off over $46,000 in 20 months, all because I was intentional. I decided to follow a plan, and I was sick of my student loans. And so that can be your future. It was definitely my story. And so thank you again for listening. I hope you guys learned a lot, and I hope this gave you a little bit of inspiration to dive into your personal finances and to get better with our money, also that we can have a better life. All right, good luck. Take care. Happy budgeting. Bye.